up?
Willard and F.P. Santangelo in the house. I'll tell you what.
And I'm here too.
Let me tell you, and Goo. Let me tell you, listening to you guys on the way home, and what a joy just to listen to Willard and F.P., to get F.P.'s perspective, just logical perspective from a former player. Willard, it must be, how nice is it to have a partner just like that?
Stir the pot. Look at you.
No, you know what?
Pot. This dude ain't no athlete. What are you talking about, FP?
Fix my camera now.
It's a
I'm
relief.
leaving.
It's a relief.
You know, no, seriously.
It's a relief to have finally have someone to talk to around here. That's all. Yeah.
FP was very logical yesterday. I was just listening to him, and I'm in my car, and I'm like, he got it exactly. Like, I think he's right. Like,
What did I say?
It was just, you said this.
Can't remember 10
There's
minutes.
Draymond.
there's 8 games left. You got Draymond Green. There's 8 games left. Can you play hard those 8 games, and can we be the best team we can be and see where this thing ends up? And then the offseason will come, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with Draymond Green, whether we're going to keep him, whether he's a vital part of this team, whether we're going to look to move him. And I've just been talking for the last hour about, well, I don't think they're going anywhere. It doesn't matter. There's only one thing to do. Play 8 games.
As hard as you
and
possibly
then
can.
see what happens. And that'll determine where the team goes from here. Doesn't matter if I think they're done. Maybe they're not.
Probably 9 games, but yeah, probably 9.
Okay. Could be the last 9 of the last 8 of the big threes tenure together.
Could
just
be.
think about that. That's how I woke up this morning. Like, hopefully it's not, but man, just imagine if Clay were to put on another uniform or big changes happen and Dre was traded. Like, that means something to all of us, I think. When you look at it through that prism.
What's the worst uniform Clay could put on next
That
year?
is, I think of Lakers.
The
No,
Lakers?
good call. Lakers.
Well, for sure, Lakers.
Yeah, no doubt.
I thought you meant just in terms of style.
Oh.
No.
It would probably be like a 1990 Nuggets jersey. Those were just awful. But no, what if I twisted the screw a little further into a bit of a different direction? Same question though. I don't even know how many of them he's going to play. But what if this is the last 9 games for the Warriors to decide whether or not Jonathan Kuminga is untouchable or not?
We talked about it, Will.
And the reason I bring that up is I do think a lot of us are cruising around having a conversation that's not really realistic, which is to say, if the Warriors do only have 9 games left and they lose in the first play-in, we're all going to head into the offseason going, big changes. Big changes are coming.
We on with you yesterday.
And what changes are actually big if they don't include Jonathan Kuminga? Because I don't know if y'all are going to get what you think you can get.
Andrew Wiggins, I don't think that ain't big.
I don't know if a Draymond market, I don't even know how to pull apart what that would look like.
What about a package, though, of those two maybe?
Yeah, boy, who's asking for that?
Wow.
And what is the forget who's asking for? What's the return on that? That's a lot of money, which means someone's going to give up something really valuable for those two who are cruising around with the "you can't count on us" label all over their foreheads right now. So there's 2 kinds of big changes. There's like what represents to us like emotional change.
Yeah.
Clay's not on the team anymore, or we moved Draymond. But actually getting better would have to include Jonathan Kuminga. That's who people are going to want.
There's no doubt.
You mean getting better in a trade?
Yeah. Well, you can't just go on the market and spend.
Because I cited you.
No,
You're on record. Willard has said the answer is not in the building to fix this team in your estimation. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
I agree.
But they might run it back. We talked about it, FP. Draymond doesn't get suspended. The young guys take more of a bigger step, and Steiny's like, that ain't winning you no chip. But I'm like, you got to give up something to get something.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to give up Kuminga, then there are no big changes.
I'm not there yet, though. I don't like to get to the offseason until you get to the offseason. I'm more about these last games and seeing what happens, and if these guys can come together and do what they did. I know it was San Antonio, but they came out to play the other night. I don't care what their record was. They won 3 in a row, and they were playing hard. Whatever happens these last few games and into the playoffs, I'm focused on right now. And then the offseason, it's fun to get some calls. What do you think? What would you do? But Like, first things first, get Kuminga back.
What's going on?
He's untouchable for me. I don't care.
Well,
he's the franchise.
But see,
he is. He's 21. What, 21 or 22?
21, but I would blend what you're saying because I think that these last 8, if they turn into 9 or 10, or heck, if you're lucky enough to get to game 11, which means you get at least 4 more, like I would argue that we can experience that, but those games, while experiencing them, there's 2 things happening at once. There's what you're talking about, which is the effort to actually win and go make noise into the playoffs, but that also is unquestionably linked to then what you do next. So I'm suggesting you have the conversation about the offseason based on actually diving into these next 8 games. Like, this is, you want to call it an audition or whatever. Like,
go down in a blaze of glory, as the great John Bon Jovi said.
So, Willard, are you alluding?
Go.
You think the great Joe Lacob
There's still eyeliner
may not know which direction he's going, and it's kind of still up in the air, all dependent on these next 8, 9, 10, or 14.
Well, I think that I think he knows. You're always living hell. They call themselves light years, right? So if you're a front office, you're always living a year, 2, 3 in advance. To watch the 49ers right now are getting ready for Brock Purdy's contract, even though it won't even happen for 2 more years before he's actually being paid that money. So you're always living ahead, and I'm sure that they have an idea of what they think is going to happen, but then it can get messed up. I mean, if the Warriors win 2 play-in tournament games, and then you're suddenly sitting there getting ready for Game 6 against the Nuggets, you might have a very, very different perspective over what that group or specific players are able to do. And so, yeah, the changes could be smaller if that happens. But if you just grab the 10 seed and go lose in LA 2 weeks from tomorrow night, you got to swing big. And I'm sort of with you emotionally, FP. I hate the idea of trading Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh, someone's got to do it.
But someone's got to explain to me.
What about the idea
if they lose in LA in 15 days, explain to me how you're going to get your roster better without doing that.
Well, what about the idea that you wouldn't just be trading Kuminga, you might be trading your 2026 first round pick and your 2028 first round pick if you have to.
Yep,
see, I'm just being totally honest. The idea of being depleted of some draft picks when Steph's not here, that scares me.
It's bad
because But I've always
thought you could have Zach Edey with one of those picks.
You could
have him.
Let's define what a big change would be. To me, if Clay walks, that's a big change, just because he's Clay.
No, it's a big change, but isn't an improvement.
Well,
how do you get better if the only thing that happens is Clay walks out the door?
I get there's 2 different things here. There's making moves and getting better. But I guess what I'm saying is if they flame out, then to me, if they let Clay walk, that would be a big change. It means they're walking from one of their main guys.
Sure.
I would say Kuminga would be a big change. Draymond would be a big change. And Wiggins, I'm not sure about, but I'm going to put him into the big change because he was a champion player here.
Dude, you get rid of those guys, I'm not buying a ticket. I'm not going to a game.
You wouldn't get rid of all of them.
I'm just saying, if you get rid of all those guys, I'm not going to a game. I don't care who you get.
Who's coming back?
I don't know. It's just that didn't sound very appealing to me. I'm not going to a Warriors game if you get rid of Kuminga and Draymond and Clay.
You're
going to get me excited about who they get for him.
It's a faceless, nameless return. You know what I mean? I don't know. What if Tyrese Maxey's on the team?
All right.
Well, but he's a better player than Andrew Wiggins is right now. No question about that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we just went 15 rounds with 12 rounds. Steiny said, can Steph Curry be your best player and you still win an NBA title? I said yes. And I'm not just saying that because I got Curry underwear on, FP. I still feel like he's a top 10, top 15 player.
Because your shirt
what's around him.
Your shirt says in Steph we trust.
It's around him. Shout out Sheed Warriors World. But, I mean, how would you guys answer that question? He has not fallen off. I don't want to lead the witness, but he has not fallen off the face of the earth. What's around him is what I'm focused on.
Can he be the best player on a championship team? I would answer that by saying, what's the space between him and number 2?
Well, what would you say that is now? it fluctuates, right? We don't know on any given night.
The space is too large right now.
Okay, and there you go.
The space is too large right now. Like that's
a problem.
That second play, that's like going, well, Shaq was the best player on the championship team and Kobe was the second best player. Like, yeah, there's too much on his shoulders right now.
Well, like if they got LeBron in here and somehow could get LeBron and still keep Kuminga. Oh, I've made it clear. I'd be for that.
I'll go to that game.
Yeah. Who's the one? Who's the two? Who cares?
Exactly. Like when Durant was here.
You know what? And Warrior fans probably hate this. You know who the one is? It's LeBron, because he'll handle the ball most of the time in that scenario, making most of the decisions. You've got a guy in Steph who can play with the ball and without the ball. So LeBron, they would change the way they played if they got LeBron. I'll bet you that.
Wow.
So that's the only thing I'd advocate, is if you could get a theoretical big boy in here and keep Kuminga. I just don't know how that happens.
How?
I don't know.
How?
It's the $1 million question.
I mean, they're really good at pulling rabbits out of their hat. You know what I mean?
If you could sign Jimmy G from Field 6 throwing footballs into a garbage can, and then he's your starting quarterback, you could do anything.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a 3. That's what happened. We don't need you. Can I read some numbers to you two guys? Because I ran them by Steiny. I don't get worried. It's only 5 games for the Giants, but I just want to read some bullpen numbers to you. 18 innings pitched, 20 earned runs, 4 homers, 11 walks. Nothing to see here, because when you got 2 starters coming back, you can bump one of the starters or the fill-ins to the bullpen. Life is about good friends and having a good bullpen. And right now, it seems like the Giants don't have the good bullpen, or nothing to see here. It's too early, Goo.
I don't have either.
I've been waiting on y'all.
I don't have either. Good friends or a good bullpen.
You got good friends.
Got nothing but good friends.
No, I'm
just so many people in that phone. Every single day, we'll be in the other room when FP's in.
Dude, there was
hey, do you want to have this person on? He's like,
no. We got baby Low
I was at his wedding 3 weeks ago. It's just constant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't love the. I didn't love the fact, if I'm being 100% honest, that a guy that was a career minor leaguer made his debut against the Heart of the Dodgers order last night in a 4-run game.
Man.
I don't care what the reports were on AAA. He's 15-0, whatever he was. He's throwing 95. That's a tough place to make your debut in a big game, even though it's only game 5 of the season.
What pitcher did you want to put in?
A-listers, man. It's the Dodgers. Yeah. Let's go. It was still within Grand Slam range at that point when Soler made the biggest base running blunder I've seen in a while, down by 4 runs.
That was bad. Oh, go ahead, Steiny.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KJMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
I would say you're not too early to express concern about the bullpen, because the bullpen, as I've always said, is exactly like an offensive line in football. You're going to get no attention to it, but it's why you win. And so they've got to be very good. And you can say, oh, but Snell and Cobb are coming. What do you think is going to happen when Snell and Cobb get here?
Wow.
I'll tell you, they're going to throw 5 innings, which means 4 innings. Half
Taylor
the game.
Rogers, we need you.
Yeah, half the game's going to go to these other guys, and they've got to be good. Yeah. They have to be good, or else the Giants' season is not going to go well. And we're still getting to know who these people are.
Dude, bullpens are bullpens, man. You could tinker with bullpens. You got some kid in AA that throws 100 that's a starter.
But they better be good.
So no biggie?
They better be good.
It's not that bad. The one thing I would want to be my deficiency in April is my bullpen, because if you're a president of baseball operations or a GM and you know anything about baseball, you can fix a bullpen.
I don't disagree, but it has to be good.
That's the easiest fix.
But it has to be good.
Yeah, it does, especially in the best division in baseball.
The reason the Dodgers, with all their dominance in the last 12 years, have 1/3 of a championship is because they've never had a great bullpen.
Or they've made weird moves with that bullpen. Well, what is Dave Roberts doing right now?
They've always had a great lineup. They've always had starting pitching. They don't have a great bullpen. So they get 1/3 of a championship. Like, that's got to be good. I don't think it's too early for Giants frustrations at all.
The last team I was with on a daily basis won a World Series with a bad bullpen. And they pieced it together in the playoffs with starting pitching out of their bullpen, but they just duct tape, baling wire, crazy glue, Gorilla Glue, figured out the bullpen throughout the season.
I'd argue that's a one-off then.
And they won a World Series.
The majority of the teams that win a World Series.
There was a trade at the deadline to get a Doolittle and an Anderson and some big pitchers, and all of a sudden you got 3 new pieces in your bullpen that weren't there at the trade deadline for some borderline prospects.
Fine. I'm not saying you can't fix it. I'm just saying in the end it's got to be good.
It does.
The Giants 3 championships. You could close your eyes and you knew exactly who was going to pitch the 6th and the 7th and the 8th and the 9th and the
after
situations.
After the 5th game of the year, you knew that?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not arguing that this is I'm talking about bullpens in general.
Yeah, I think as a manager, I'm feeling out my lineup right now. I'm feeling out my bullpen right now, and I'm seeing who gets the A innings, who gets the B innings, and I always think the B bullpen's more important than the A bullpen because if I'm going to come from behind and we're down by 2, you got to keep it at 2. But if a 2-run deficit goes to 4 or 5 runs, we're not coming back. So the B bullpen that keeps me in the game where I can snatch a win in the 7th, 8th, or 9th is every bit important. So right now, if you're Bob Melvin and you're new to an organization, you're feeling out your lineup, who's comfortable where, who's comfortable hitting behind who. And I think I'm hoping Tyro moves up a little bit somewhere down the road. But Bob's figuring all this out. That's what April's for without getting too far behind or getting buried in a division. You're trying to find the rhythm of your lineup and the rhythm of your bullpen and who fits where, what piece fits where, who can handle the big 8th inning, who can handle the big 7th inning when we're ahead by 2 on the road against the Dodgers. I think I got an idea, but there's no bright lights in the 3rd deck in spring training. It doesn't go on the back of your baseball cart in Scottsdale. It does now, so you'll see guys have great springs and all of a sudden it counts and they go, oh, God, it counts. So this is Dodger Stadium and the organ's really loud. It's the Dodgers, and that's Freddie freaking Freeman, and oh my God. So
what a lineup.
He's freaking, I know, right? I've never seen Mookie Betts this hot, dude.
It's like watching the Warriors with Durant, where when it's good for you, you love it, but it's like, this is a joke.
No, it's super frustrating to root against. It's super frustrating to root against.
It's hard to root against Mookie Betts. It's really hard.
Well, Mookie's just a great player, but it's very, very frustrating to watch your favorite team try to pitch to this group. It's incredibly frustrating. But what I also found frustrating last night was you sat down and you watched that thing and you went, so this is game 5 and this is the first Giants-Dodgers game of the year. This renewed excitement around the Giants, I had a hard time finding on my television set. It felt very, very reminiscent suddenly to the last 2 years in terms of vibe and in terms of the way the Dodgers go about beating you, which is after 3 innings, it'll be 1-0. And you're like, okay, you're still, no, now here comes the lineup again.
Oh, man.
And then it's 3-0. And then they come around again, and then it's 5-0. And then you're sitting there in the 7th inning just hoping that it doesn't become embarrassing. And then it's like, okay, is it 8-3, or do you end up with one of those DeSclafani games where it ends up 14-2?
But the Soler base running move, that's why it was so big. I know it was one, but that was bad. You could have killed a rally.
Down by 4, that can't happen.
It can't happen.
But we're also acting like the next guy was definitely going to hit a 3-run homer or whatever. Soler's had a...
That's what you were talking about the other day. And I don't know if Soler fits the category, but... You learn that stuff in the minor leagues.
What's he doing? Like, no.
It's time a game. It's when to take a chance. It's when not to take a chance. That's not Matt Williams' fault at all, because if I'm base running there down by 4, it's station to station. We just need base runners. I don't need to advance to 3rd there. You just need more guys on you to keep the line moving. Yeah. And the one thing I will say, and this might get an eye roll from you guys and people listening to their cars, but when you face a guy like Paxton last night and he walks 6 guys, those are the hardest at-bats for a hitter because it's a snowball fight. He throws 1 at your head and then he paints on the black. Then he walks 3 guys in a row, then he paints 3 on the black to you. So guys that the term effectively wild, when you're facing a guy and you don't know where it's going, and all of a sudden it's 2-0 and then he paints and it's 2-1. And then he throws 1 at your head, and then 3-2 he paints on the black. And then at the 3-2 pitch, he throws a nasty hammer for strike 3, and you're like, wait, you didn't know where it was going 40 seconds ago, and now you're painting. So he was doing that last night. He's throwing 95. He walked everybody. He was behind everybody. When we had to make a pitch, he had to make a pitch. And what that'll do for a hitter is it'll get you on your heels, because whatever your game plan is, like I'm sitting on a fastball middle away, and if that dude throws it, I'm smoking it in the right center field gap, and that's my game plan tonight. And you got a solid game plan because you watch video for an hour before the game, and dude never throws a ball in the place you're looking for because he doesn't even know where it's going. Those are the tough nights, and I think that's what happened.
You know who you just described?
Is it a fear?
Yeah, Blake Snell.
Exactly right.
You can't have a game plan against guys like that. It's just like this.
Is it a fear that you may get hit, or is it just, I don't know where the ball is going?
I don't know where it's going. So as a big league hitter, you want to have a game plan. Like, what's a good at-bat? A good at-bat is having a game plan in the on-deck circle, getting in the batter's box and following through with your plan. Because a lot of times when you go from that on-deck circle to the batter's box, that little man in your head starts talking to you real fast. And you're like, I'm sitting on a fastball middle away. What? And you get in the box and you're like, well, maybe a bunt's good right here. Or what about a fastball middle in? I think he's coming fastball middle in. And that guy's talking to you. He's talking to your head. He's in your head. So a good at-bat is in front of 50,000 people at Dodger Stadium, and you have a game plan, is sticking with that game plan the whole at-bat. Even if it means getting to 2 strikes and you still haven't got the pitch you're sitting on. Because there's two counts to hit in baseball. 2 strikes and less than 2 strikes. And with less than 2 strikes, why would you swing at anything other than what you're looking for? 2 strikes, you got to stick your nose in the dirt and battle. But until you get to 2 strikes, I'm looking for 1 pitch in 1 spot. And if it's there, I'm getting off my A swing on my A pitch. I'm barreling something up. But when you have a guy that's just a big, tall lefty that's throwing 95 and doesn't know where it's going, now I don't have a game plan, and that's frustrating. It is.
You know how good the Dodgers are?
Tell me. Well, they've owned the division for the last decade.
The runner-up in the Cy Young race will start against them tonight versus
TBD.
Undecided.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I got you.
And the Dodgers are a minus 145 favorite.
I got you, man.
They're throwing we don't know against one of the best pitchers in the National League, and Vegas is like, you're not just a favorite, you're a heavy favorite.
Well, Vegas is like, hey, we got Shohei.
Let's go in 15 rounds. So that's what Vegas is saying. You're going to earn your money tonight going against this lineup.
Yeah.
We can have Bugs Bunny throwing.
No, what they're saying is like, hey, we got Shohei on our side. We got Shohei on our side. Hey, we got Shohei. Shohei told us he's going to try
minus 145.
Would you, real quick, what did you think of those women's games last night? Did you watch any of them?
Oh my God, we watched the first half while we were sitting here doing the show.
Wow.
It was incredible.
That's pretty fun.
That was one of the most, here's how I would describe it. That was one of the best paced sporting watches.
That first half was incredible.
That I think I've seen in this calendar year.
Yeah.
That was good.
I mean,
Caitlin Clark.
Which one would you want on the WNBA team? You can have any of this. Would you want Caitlin Clark?
I want her on the Warriors next year.
Yeah.
Do you know what's stungy if you haven't watched Caitlin Clark play? Everybody knows that she can hit ridiculous 3-point shots. The way that woman runs a game, like a complete quarterback, her passing ability, her court vision.
Yeah, she was, man.
The whole thing looks more wide open when she's got the ball. There's so much going on. I never found when she had the ball in her hand, it was just exciting, whether she shot it or not.
Did you see her walk-off interview at halftime?
No.
She couldn't even breathe. She's like, you never see that in the NBA, right? When they're talking to somebody on the way into halftime, that's how hard she was playing. She couldn't breathe. They're like, well, I'll let you get your breath. She's like, yeah, that was a great first half. I'm like, damn, she's playing hard, man. It was awesome.
All right,
that was great.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think?
I thought it was awesome. I really liked the Juju Watkins from USC. Like, she's got a game.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was
Gino.
That was a tough ending watching her walk off the court.
I mean, just a freshman. She's good.
But it was a Steph Curry experience for me watching her shoot and run. It was incredible. So and it was breathtaking.
And it was incredibly difficult and unfortunate to watch Kim Mulkey lose.
Yeah.
I thought that sucked.
Gamer.
I thought her team came apart a little bit at the end.
She is something.
Well, those girls do have a lot of emotion on their shoulders. Like the fact, like Angel Reese after the game with that press conference and saying that she has not been happy since they won the national championship because of everything that gets pointed at her and thrown at all of them. That stinks.
I like her.
I got nothing against any of those players.
I mean, they could have won it as long as Mulkey could have gotten the loss.
Yeah.
On 95.